Welcome to Cinema Gulp. I'm John.
I'm Devin.
And I'm Ben, and this is our top 5 movie bullies of all time. Before we get started, I want to quickly give a thank you shout out to a great YouTube channel that's really had our back recently, Robert Meyer Burnett's show, Robservations, and every one of you guys at the Post Geek Singularity for helping us pass the mark of 300 subscribers. A small but meaningful milestone for this channel. Thank you, PGS. Now, I'm someone who thinks that movie assholes are not exactly the same thing as movie bullies. A movie bully is someone who is used for character. Through interactions with other characters, is deemed a bully. Whether this helps shape the plot of the film or not, it's always case by case. A movie asshole usually is simply a plot device or a script beat. In horror movies, someone that's maybe set to be killed or the killer. In a rom-com, a movie asshole usually is someone who's exposed as being a piece of shit. We have the gang back, me, Devin, and John, and we're going to discuss our personal favorite movie bullies of all time.
Thanks for bullying us into this, Ben.
Oh, for sure. Friday night, what more would you want to do than talk about movie bullies?
I just have one, I guess, that I'll mention.
Okay.
And this one I was keeping in spirit of Christmas. So this honorable mention is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It is all the other reindeer who are a bunch of assholes who call him names. No, they're dicks and they taunt him. And in that actual cartoon, whatever the 50s animated thing, the coach, there's an actual reindeer coach who's just as much of a fucking asshole. He's the one who says, no, we won't let you play in our reindeer games.
Now, what's this nonsense here, Bucks? After all, yeah!
And
That's
then
true.
Santa, the fucking asshole Santa shows up, and I guess in this cartoon, Donner is Rudolph's father. And Santa looks over to Donner and says, oh, Donner, you should be so ashamed of yourself, over his fucking red nose.
Donner, you should be ashamed of yourself. What a pity.
So you know what he did? Rudolph went full Rudolph Lundgren and fucking killed every single last one of them.
Coming in as my first honorable mention is, of course, Burglecut. Pettiest of all pecks. One could say that Burglecut has a Napoleon complex, but wouldn't you say that about all of them? Burglecut just fucking has it all, man. He's insecure. He torments Willow. He runs with a whack pack of dim-witted minions. He's a big bully wrapped up in a very small-sized package. And my other honorable mention, I think you guys will like this one. It's Sebastian Dugan, a.k.a. I Want My $2 Paperboy from Better Off Dead.
Nice.
Possibly the only bully on this list that's smaller and younger than the person he torments, the pussy who is Mr. Lane Meyer. But he wants his motherfucking $2.
$2.
All right, so for me, coming in at number 5 of top cinema bullies is going to be Debo from the movie Friday, 1995. This dude was just straight scary. I mean, he's a buff fucking cockeyed monster and gangster as fuck. And there's no humor to his character. There's no insecurity. This dude is just out to kill you, and you don't want to mess with him. I've actually known guys like this before in my past, and they made my balls shrink into tiny, minuscule grains of sand.
It's fucking Zeus, isn't it?
That's right, Zeus. That's correct. What? I think he was in No Holds Barred, 80s movie.
Yes.
And he's just out to terrorize the neighborhood constantly. Everyone knows when Debo rolls up on his beach cruiser, get the fuck out of the way. Hide your gold, hide your money. This dude's coming to take it. And that's this guy beat up guys' dads. He was beating up adults. I mean, he was an adult himself, but this guy was beating up like old-ass men, and he did not give a shit. This guy was scary. Debo, I think, for me, and I love the movie Friday. It's a classic in my opinion. Debo easily comes in at number 5 for me.
Awesome pick, man. Coming in at number 5 on my list is Principal Richard Vernon from The Breakfast Club. Played by the late, great Paul Gleason. It starts out where he's just a pretty terrible, disillusioned high school principal. One could even argue that he's just doing his job and trying to teach these teenagers a valuable lesson on their little stint in Saturday school. But as the film progresses, you realize No, he's just a complete fucking asshole. And nobody could play a complete fucking asshole to a bunch of kids like Paul Gleason. He does it so great in that movie, God rest his soul. When you finally get into the basement with Bender and Vernon, you realize he is a bully. And you could tell he had some kind of fucked up childhood. He probably grew up there as a little pipsqueak. It's written all over him. He's got everything. He's got the unintentional humor. He's got the insecurity. He's just completely pathetic. I love Principal Richard Vernon. He's my number 5.
Mine is kind of a group of bullies. This is from Dazed and Confused. The entire senior class of 1977, I think, is a big group of bullies. I mean, the main group of guys that are running around paddling everyone, I mean, they're just out to haze everybody. So they're bullies, but they're not the worst of the group. The ones that are the standouts that I've really got to point out is Darla. She's probably the biggest bitch of them all. Parker Posey playing Darla. She puts the D in degradation and demeaning for sure. She puts a lot of energy into being a bitch. She's amazing at it. She has very little screen time in this movie, but she's definitely one of the most memorable parts of the movie. And some of her dialogue, some of those lines, air raid bitches. She's just fucking amazing. Wipe that face off your head, bitch. That's another good one.
I was hoping you were going to say that.
What are you looking at? Wipe that face off your head, bitch.
And O'Banion is another one of the group. I could care less about Ben Affleck. It's good to see him get fucked over in that movie, but he is a total asshole. So this whole class, the class of 1977 from Dazed and Confused, a bunch of fucking bullies.
That's a nice way to do it. It's a nice way to look at it.
Okay, so number 4 for me, that's coming in with Chet Donnelly from the 1985 classic Weird Science. Bill Paxton, one of my favorite actors from the 80s. This guy's the older brother bully asshole. He hates his brother. He hates his brother's friends. He's just out to terrorize all of them. And you never really know why. And that's the thing in the 80s. With 80s bullies, there's always a bully that's just there to be the bully.
Just to be a dick.
Yeah, just to be a dick. Exactly. Chet usually comes in at number 4. I kind of wanted to give him a bigger slot or a number 2, something like that, because I love him so damn much. And I miss Bill Paxton. But he was a huge asshole in Weird Science. So many memorable quotes. That's not a joke. Those are women's underpants.
I'm telling Mom and Dad everything. I'm even considering making up some shit.
Mom and Dad, everything. I'm even considering making up some shit. You stewed, buttwad.
You stewed, buttwad.
He catches Wyatt in bed. Finally got a woman in bed with him. And then what does Chet do? He comes in and bops him on the head with his 12-gauge shotgun. Threatens to kill him. I mean, epitome of bullying. That brings me to a special moment here for me regarding Mr. Paxton. Sir, I want to take a shot out to you. I love you. I miss you. And rest in peace. Bill Paxton's the man.
Rest in peace. You stewed, buttwad. So coming in at number 4 for me, this is a more serious one. It's Bobby Kent from the movie Bully, played by Nick Stahl, who completely kills it in this movie as the title character. Bully. This is a true story of this bully, so it's really kind of a powerful thing. The fact that this dude was a bully to all his peers like that, and how they plotted to murder him in such a horrific fashion. I mean, that makes you just the fucking biggest bully ever. Everything from his forcing a girl in mid-sex to watch gay porn and shoving her face into the TV screen. I mean, he was such a slimeball. And my favorite thing about his bullying is his ability to convince the adults around him that he's like the golden boy. He had the grades and he was like an athlete, but he had this other life. Complete bullshit face personality. His dad just thought he was the best. And Stahl was able to just cut loose and be insane, since this was a Larry Clark film who loves to showcase awkward, awful teen nudity and sex and behavior. So yeah, coming in at number 4 for me, even though it's a tragic, horrific, true story, Nick Stahl as Bobby Kent is such a fucking, bully.
Going with another Christmas pick, this is one of the most classic bullies of all time. Let me give you an image to run with here, Mr.
Oh, I hate that picture. When you type in bully, that's what comes up.
Yeah, and it should, because that is the look of a bully right there. Those are the eyes of a bully. The yellow, slit eyes there. It's like, can you tell if that is it his hat or is that his hair? It's like
he almost looks like an
which
Inuit.
it is.
It's like a Davy Crockett thing or something.
It's a Davy Crockett hat, but he really does have red hair, so you just can't tell if he's just got an animal growing off the top of his head or not. But obviously, this guy's just a classic on the bully scale. Even his move is a classic. He's got the say uncle, twist your arm behind your back and make you say uncle. I mean, that's just the most classic of all the bully moves. He's very consistent. He's able to catch these kids before and after going to school every single day. He's got his little toady that helps him, Grover Dill. I don't know if you guys remember his little minion there. And I think that's like a staple with the top bullies, that they have a minion, somebody who they can bully within their inner circle as well.
And isn't it whenever he shows up, they're playing the theme to Peter and the Wolf? Is it Peter and the Wolf?
I think you've called it. I thought that he had his own theme music, which I thought was pretty cool.
It's from like a 60s like.
No, now that you point that out, you are right, and that's really funny. But I was going to point out that he had his own theme music, which was like put him on higher than some other bullies for having that. But he's ripping it off from something else, I guess. Yeah. He strikes fear instantly. As soon as he comes around the corner, the kids every single time are just shocked with fear. The best defense for this guy is you got to pull the slug defense. Randy, the little kid that's all wrapped up in his winter wear, he just falls on the ground and just acts like a slug. But yeah, this guy finally gets his due when he becomes a giant whining pussy. But
well, that's what you always want, that comeuppance on your bully. You just never know what it's going to be, you know?
Yeah. Moving on to number 3. All right. So my number 3 is Mr. Greg Tolan from the 1985 classic, in my opinion, Just One of the Guys. This guy was just the quintessential bully of the 80s, known to lovers of 80s cinema. Of course, from Just One of the Guys, a character that actually I kind of identified with at one point in my life, but then also feared at another. He's the guy, one of those other guys. It was just a dick for no reason, because that's how it was in the 80s. You just had bullies, for no reason. Greg Tolan, this is the guy you feared coming across, when you go to lunch. Everyone, when you go in high school, there's different groups in the lunch area. You have certain areas where the cool guys sit, certain areas where the dorks sit, the bops or cheerleaders were over here, or the nerds and scientists over here. Greg Tolan did not discriminate, though. Although he loved picking on the science nerds. And what did he do? He'd go up and lift their tables up and spill their food all over the place. He was the dude you did not want to run into at lunchtime at all. Put on his little fucking gloves and shit. Lift up your lunch table and spill your food all over. It was menacing, though. Just one of the guys, though.
Number 3 for me is Nurse Ratched, played by Louise Fletcher. And one of my favorite films, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Some may consider her the film's antagonist, which would be villain, maybe asshole. I think she's kind of all three. She morphs from one to the next, but she's consistently a bully all the way through. She's more integral to the story than just, a bully that shows up every now and then. She is the sort of like arch nemesis of Jack Nicholson's character. The movie is more about internal struggle. So for me, she's just a full-blown bitch. Like, that's pretty much what she is in the movie. Her mockery of the inmates right off the bat shows you that she's not fit for her job and clearly has way too much power. The simple fact that she's able to order a lobotomy on anyone at any time is fucking frightening. Nurse Ratched is the scariest fucking beginner of the Me Too era that you'll ever see in your life. She controls a hospital of male inmates, and she can order to get their dicks cut off if she doesn't like them. So Nurse Ratched comes in at number 3 for me.
I agree, man. That's a good one, man. That's a really good one.
She has it all.
Cheers.
So my next one, number 3, is Teddy Beckerstead. You guys remember who Teddy Beckerstead is?
One Crazy Summer.
One Crazy Summer.
Yes. That's a good pick.
There's Cookie. There's Cookie.
Oh, God. Cookie is so fucking hot. but he is the perfect Nantucket privileged douchebag for sure. I mean, what bully gets away with wearing a sweater, you know, pastels and plaid together? I don't know. And he gets away with it. He's pretty badass. I mean, this guy is basically just in the film to be the classic 80s bully. Look, they got the same haircut and everything. He's got the badass car. He's got the brand new boat, the super hot smoking girlfriend that everybody wants. He's just the epitome of you know, the guy that kind of everybody wants to be, but he's such a dick and a douchebag, nobody really wants to be him. Everybody talks behind his back when they can. He also has his own little toady. He's got Ty. Let's see if I can bring up a quick
Jeremy
picture
Piven.
of Ty here.
Yeah, Devin. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, with his toady. There's Ty. There's Jeremy Piven. Obviously important to have your toady. But yeah, I just love Teddy. He's pretty funny. He's abusive. He's got the head slaps, kind of like Chet. But the way that you can defeat this classic bully is with the, let me find it here, the ear twist. His dad always gets him.
There's
with
the
ear twist.
floaties.
Yeah, he's swimming with the floaties. Yeah. So, gotta love Teddy Beckerstead.
That's a
Oh man, that's a great one. I'm almost pissed I didn't think of that. So coming at number 2 for me is
Oh,
Creme.
what a great shot.
Karate Kid, 1984. The reason this guy made my list is based on sheer patheticness. This guy is an adult who gets his jollies off of terrorizing little kids, right? It's both funny for sick people like me, and it's pathetic because he's an adult that likes to pick on little kids. I had to mention him. This guy scared me when I was a kid, actually. I remember in '84 watching the movies. I was terrified of this guy. You know, he's always a buff dude. You know, back then, that original movie, he's a big buff dude. Now he's a wrinkly 80-year-old sack of shit. Well, he's 74, but close enough. He's probably shitting himself uncontrollably, so I think I could take him. But this guy was pathetic. He was just pathetic. He even beat up his own student, you know? He even beat up his own student, choked him out, nearly killed Johnny Lawrence. And all he wanted to do, his whole sole mission in life was to terrorize Daniel LaRusso, which I kind of agree with him with. But it's funny because I was a kid, you know? But this guy was terrible. He wants to ruin kids' lives. And for that reason, he's earning my number 2 spot.
Coming in at number 2 for me, and this may be controversial because I know a lot of people have always said he's the greatest cinema bully of all time, but I have Biff Tannen. Biff Tannen, for me, Back to the Future, played by the amazing Tom Wilson. I love that Biff has catchphrases, make like a tree and get out of here, and butthead.
Why don't you make like a tree and get out of here? What are you looking at, butthead?
Those were all improvised by Thomas Wilson, who was and is still a comedian. Also, he gets to play Biff as a middle-aged bully and as a teenage bully, and he's tormenting the same guy in both instances, which no other bully on any of these lists get to say they get to be like the 18-year-old bully and the 45-year-old bully. I was genuinely scared of Biff. He really, for a PG-rated movie, he did a lot of awful stuff. I mean, if you think about it, he committed attempted rape. And if you think Marty could have easily died if he got hit by that manure truck, he also committed attempted murder. So he's a first-class fucking bully in a first-class 80s film. Biff Tannen, for me, is the number 2 spot. He was terrifying. There's humor there, stuff that Tom Wilson brought into the performance. And look how long, I mean, he's probably the longest lasting bully on our list. 3 movies he played. I played different guys, though. He wasn't always Biff, but what more can I say? Number 2.
Nice. Gold.
Yeah, that probably should have been my number 1, and I didn't even think of him. My number 2 is Doyle from Sling Blade.
Nice, dude. That's
Again,
a terrifying
going
guy.
with the theme that we have, that Devin had, an adult who picks on kids, who picks on mentally challenged people, who picks on crippled people in wheelchairs. He just picks anybody, you know, that he obviously can dominate. John Ritter's character of a certain sexual orientation, you know, and he says all the words we can't say anymore, all the words that we used to get away with in the 80s that we can't say anymore. He says them repeatedly over and over and over and over again. He's like a complete asshole, but he's always trying to deliver his asshole behavior he ends it with a smile and tries to turn it around at the end, says, I'm just kidding with you. And it's just like, you can't say anything back to him because he tries to turn it around and pretend that he's not really being an asshole. But everyone in the room can feel it. Everyone can see it. Everyone's fully aware of it. Even his own drinking buddies, they show up to play music with him, and he kicks them out, and he treats them like shit. He's an asshole to everyone that's around him. I don't know why anyone put up with him for as long as they do in the movie. But yeah, he has no consideration for anybody. Everything's always about him. Every decision that's made when he's in the room has to be the way he wants it to be. He can snap at a moment's notice and just fly off the handle, be mean and nasty, and then try and charm you with a smile. And as you can see from the shot there, he just sits in his chair and drinks all day and does nothing, goes nowhere. Don't think he has a job. Actually, I think he says he's in construction, so I guess he claims to have a job, but he's just a complete, total adult piece of shit.
And what a great performance by Dwight Yoakam, too. Who would have thought he had that? We're down to the creme de la creme. Oh, and he's already showing it. He's already showing it off. His number one pick.
This movie came out in 1985. This is one of the first movies where I really got the concept of bully. And maybe there were some before, but this guy stood out. He's a big, menacing dude. He's buff. He's yoked up. He just wants to beat the shit out of Marty the whole time. He wants to rape Lorraine, like he alluded to earlier. This guy's a bad motherfucker, dude. He even went so far as to steal the Gray's Sports Almanac and manipulate himself into being like the king of the world in Part 2. He was even a dick to kids. Remember there was that scene, I think it was in Back to the Future Part 2, where they're back in time, back in the 50s again, in 1955.
And he throws their ball.
He throws it up into that like balcony, and he's like, "Go get it!" Biff was menacing, man. This guy was terrifying to me.
I agree.
He's always stood out to me as probably the top bully of the movie cinema, as far as my era or our era, and what we grew up with. He gets my number one, hands down.
I can't argue with you there. I mean, obviously, I had him at number 2. So
I think I should have put him on my list at number 1. Now that I'm hearing this, I'm agreeing with you guys. I think maybe at one point, if he even crossed my mind, it's almost that his character, being in all 3 films, his character kind of is bigger than what I picture as the average bully in these movies are kind of these side characters that don't get a lot of screen time, that are just there to facilitate that role. And even though Biff does that perfectly throughout each film that he needs to, he is a much bigger character and part of the story overall. Not that invalidates the picks that you guys have him being first. I really think I should have put him there.
So we're down to my number 1 pick. This one's going to be a little weird because at one point John kind of had something similar, but I'm going with Ben Affleck's O'Bannon. Not the entire. But I love John. I love that John picked the entire class because he's 100% right. But as just an individual bully, I gotta go O'Banion. The biggest bummer about his character is that in the 3rd act, when it starts up, he's completely gone from the film. I don't know if people even realize that. Once they get to the Moon Tower party, he's not in that. Like him getting the paint dumped on him, that's it. His story is done when that happens. John said they sort of throw in a new asshole at the party, Clint or whatever. But that says everything we need to say about his dominance as a bully. His stamp as a bully is so fucking strong that he doesn't even need to be in the entire movie. He's such a legendary dick that they can finish his arc up before they even get to the big fun party. The movie doesn't always need the bully to stick around to the conclusion, and obviously unless the script calls for it. O'Banion and what he was able to do with the first 2 acts takes the win for me for the best on-screen movie bully of all time. And I think Affleck was so fucking awesome in this movie that he almost got typecast as that guy. And he went on to do a couple of Kevin Smith roles, right. And then like School Ties, where he wasn't quite as bully in School Ties, but in Mallrats he's pretty much O'Banion, but a little lesser degree. I think Affleck. I still think it's his best fucking performance ever. And everybody
He was-
loves Wooderson in that movie. I've always related more to a Banyan. I don't know.
Well, he even did he was the bully in some after school specials in the early
Probably.
90s.
Yeah,
You
probably.
know, where he was doing roids and shit.
What's on with you?
Damn it!
But I thought about O'Banion and the impact he has on those first 2 acts, and that he doesn't need to be in the third because the movie changes focus, and but so much of it is dominated by where he's lurking in his car to fuck these kids up.
Right.
To me, and the enjoyment he gets out of it, and then just the anger he has when he misses, when he can't catch someone or whatever, I love he's the best bully. Just beats out Biff to me. I gotta go Banyan.
All right. Well, my number 1 pick is one that we've already had mentioned. I think Devin had him somewhere. We got Chet.
Oh,
Nice.
I'm going with Chet for my number 1. The second Ben brought this show idea up, my mind just thought of Chet. I couldn't not go with him for number 1. I think there are maybe bullies that do worse things, but I think I just have so much fun with him being the bully. He's got the funniest facial expressions of all these guys. His freaking laugh. Just some of the shit he does, the smashing them in the head with the shotguns is just, you can feel that. That's just painful. God.
yeah, the sound.
Yeah.
Yeah,
noise.
the sound of that.
Have you ever thought of him as Hudson just on R&R? He's just
No, it does kind of feel like that. When you've got Hudson, when he's talking up the weapons that they've got on the ship in that cut scene from Aliens or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. He's off duty.
We got nukes. We got knives.
He's got some of the best insults, I think.
Boy, I wouldn't give a squirt of piss for your ass right now.
I love that when after he's turned into a troll, he still has the jarhead haircut.
Yeah.
Another scene I love is when he smashes the eggs. He's like, "Go make yourself one or whatever."
Dickweed.
Now make yourself one, dickweed.
It's like every action that this guy does, everything that he does in the movie, just fills the role of the perfect movie bully for me.
Yeah, that never leaves your head, those scenes. It's just
It
always
really does.
there.
And maybe, Bill Paxton, just loving him in so many film roles, being in so many of my favorite movies, and knowing that we lost him a few years ago, it's something that I feel like this is a role he's always going to be remembered for. So for me, it deserves to be number 1.
Nice.
I love that. And
Great pick, man.
there was 2 overlapping ones. I'm glad this was one of them because I love his performance and I love his character in this movie. The other overlapping one was obviously Biff, which me and Devin had, and you explained.
And I think I would have put him on there probably.
And for me, I'll explain myself because when I thought of doing this, Best Bullies, I thought of Chet, but to me, he's the hero of the movie and not the villain. First of all, he fights for his country, and so he thinks his obnoxious, dumb fuck little brother is a big enough piece of shit to make fun of him and torment him on his weekends off. I think there's nothing wrong with that. And he's not the one that fucking trashes the house and screws it up. No, and I'm not debunking your guys' pick, nor did John. I mean, he was talking about Biff, and he had the same valid points. He's a big part of the thing. I love Chet just as much as you guys, but he's like my hero of the movie. So I think these were all pretty great picks. Like I mean, the fact that there was only those minor overlaps was pretty crazy. I guess me and John could technically say the Dazed and Confused one was an overlap, but yours was so creative and different that it wasn't really just a single bully. Because you're right, dude. That class is a bunch of fucking hazers, man. Like, and Parker Posey almost should have made my list because she's such a fucking bitch, dude.
Here is a shot to the late, great Mr. Bill Paxton. We miss you. We love you. We thank you for your role, sir. Bless you.
Love you, Bill.
Love you, man. Love you, Bill.
And we also love you guys. Please like and subscribe and tell your friends and comment. Give us your top 5 bullies. John, where can they find Cinema Gulp?
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Look for us under Cinema Gulp.
And for Cinema Gulp, this is Ben from Southern California.
And this is John from the North Pole.
And Devin from Colorado.
We
drink your cinema!